Okay, well, let's get started. Again, good afternoon and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking an hour of your day to attend our latest event, Climate Action, Building Community for Electrification. My name is John McKenna, and I, like many of you, I imagine, am an advocate for bold climate action. I work with a community of climate advocates who organized today's event. That team includes Actera, who we want to thank for hosting all of us. We acknowledge that this virtual event is taking place throughout the unceded territory of California, home to nearly 200 tribal nations. As we begin this event, we recognize and honor the original inhabitants of our various regions. Let's take a moment to honor these ancestral grounds that we are collectively gathered upon. Thank you. As the name of our event implies, the goal today is to help build communities. There are numerous aspects to the climate crisis and many challenges and solutions. One such solution is electrifying everything. We will start our event with two brief presentations related to electrification. First, home electrification, and then reach codes. The remainder of our time together will be spent in breakout rooms, which will allow you all to connect with your fellow citizens. The time spent in the breakout rooms, Apologies. The time spent in the breakout rooms can be used as you collectively wish, but we will have facilitators for each breakout room to guide and spark the discussion if needed. If you've attended our two previous events, Code Red for Humanity, What Municipalities Can Do, and Climate Action 101, we hope you found them informative, helpful, and inspiring. Recordings of these past events are available for you to view whenever you like. And please note, after the event, an email with the resources presented today will be sent to all who registered. Our hope is that today's event will give you the chance to connect with others who want to amplify their voices. Just a reminder to everyone, if they could please mute. Our hope is that today's event will give you the chance to connect with others who want to amplify their voices to advocate for and support bold climate action at the local level. We need to do some quick housekeeping. We are recording this event so that it can be shared with those who are not able to attend live. To help us with event logistics, please rename yourselves in Zoom now with your city listed after your name. Please use the chat for any questions, and we will do our best to respond during the event or soon thereafter. And please note that you each have the option of saving the chat by going to the three dots in the chat window and selecting Save Chat. It looks like we have some elected officials with us here today, which I'm excited to see. Welcome. If you are an elected official, please feel free to note that in your Zoom name. As a reminder to everyone, please keep your comments, chat, and any communication constructive and on topic. Lastly, we will have a few polls during the event, and we encourage you to partake as it will help us expand our reach and improve future events. Our first poll will help us to get a better idea of how you came to attend today's event. A poll will appear on your screen momentarily. Please go ahead and respond. Okay, thank you for your responses. This will help us determine the most effective ways to reach more people that want to learn about climate solutions and to get involved. Now, I'd like to introduce Shawn Armstrong, the Managing Principal of Redwood Energy. Shawn will take about 10 minutes to give us an introduction to home electrification. Shawn has over 25 years of experience in this field, has co-authored several practical guides, and has received sustainability awards from the United Nations, the US Department of Energy, and the SoCal Building Industry Association. We thank Shawn for being here and sharing with us his tremendous knowledge and experience in this arena. Welcome, Shawn.
Hello, good afternoon, John. Thanks everyone for having me. So let's see, someone else should start taking over admitting people. I've been doing that. They're popping up just so you know. So we're gonna do 10 quick minutes on, I think, 9 steps that you could take for rapidly electrifying, doing code red response. The first is to change your mind. Understand that California is the least electrified state in the United States. We are the worst. We are at the very, very extreme. We're right up there with like West Virginia with a coal grid. We're like that with our gas grid. We're the #1 hookups. We're the #1 per capita hookups. We are, to this very moment, just still hooking people up, thousands and thousands of people a year. So we're the worst. Everyone else is better. This map is a map of market shift since 2010. You can see that electrification has taken over the nation. It actually started in 1993. It had stopped in 1973 and it began in about 1890. So we've had only 20 years in which we haven't been on an electrification spree nationwide as we electrify our end uses. Okay, now, second, I want you guys to think about setting a budget. Most people take many years to electrify their entire home. These are examples of people who did it all in one gulp. Can you take down the poll, please? It's on my screen and I can't get rid of it. If you could, thanks. So so here's 10 houses in Ohio. In blue is the HVAC system, right? In yellow is the water heater, and they do both electric resistance and heat pump water heaters, and you're welcome to also if you're struggling. I absolve you from guilt. Then in orange there, I still can't get rid of that poll. If you can, I just can't see my own screen. This is it's posing a problem because it's, okay, I got rid of it. Okay, so in gray here, that's the comfort. People are choosing comfort. This is the envelope measures, getting rid of leakage, getting more insulation, putting in new windows. You have a lot of latitude on how much comfort you want to pay for, but your budget for electrifying things could be under 20 grand or a lot less. It could be under 6 grand. I'm going to show you a couple of things you need to consider. But these are whole house budgets, all in one gulp. So if you want to start, just get going at it. Spend about $600. Oops, someone needs to mute. Spend about $600 and get a Medea Duo 12,000 BTU, which is 1 ton heat pump. It's a high efficiency. It's got an inverter. So it does heating and cooling dehumidification for $600 and it's quiet. And this 1 ton of heating, if you just run it, will keep your house warm enough. If you have like a 1,000 or 2,000 square foot house, if you put it in the right room, you could probably keep your house at 68, the whole house. If you had 2 of them, whole house could be 75 or warmer. So this, usually HVAC systems are like $10,000 to $30,000. And this is a 1 ton system that's $600, super high efficiency and quiet, 42 decibels as opposed to 52. So it's about 1/4 is perceived loud. Okay, step number 4. Go out and get an inexpensive plug strip for your 240 volt appliances. If you have a 240 volt plug now, like your dryer, you can plug in one of these, or to their prices like $500, $200, $600, $300, etc. These do slightly different jobs. But you can plug one into a 240 volt outlet, and now you can have 2 240 volt devices. Here's an example house. Lisa and Steve Schmidt over in Los Altos Hills. So they put in a condensing washer dryer, which freed up a 240 volt plug. I'll show you that in a moment. Then they have their heat pump water heater, which is a 240 volt device that has a fairly high amperage, 30 amps. And they plug that into this black box, which is a 240 volt plug strip. The other plug goes to their induction range. So they're using one plug, which was the dryer plug. They put in a non-240 volt dryer. Then they put 2 240 volt appliances on that one former dryer plug for just a few $100. Saved them thousands of dollars of rewiring and possibly a service upgrade, so many, many thousands of dollars. They did the same thing with their Teslas. So one Tesla plug, 2 chargers plugged into it using a 240 volt plug strip. So this is a very low cost way to accomplish rapid electrification in your house and skip the whole rewiring service upgrade nonsense. So speaking a little bit more about condensing washer dryers, super convenient. Step number 6, add some convenience and free up your power. This is a 1400 watt device. So this is about a hair dryer's worth of power that it's using in the moment. And it's using that, this is a high performance washing machine with a super fast spin cycle, like 1300 RPM, squeezes all the water out, and then it dries it with kind of a modified electric resistance dryer. So the upshot of it is that you don't have to transfer your laundry. You just wash it and it dries. It gets it all done in one machine. And this LG model, this is the biggest of them, and I love it. My brother loves it. Lisa and Steve Schmidt love it. Sierra over at the Energy Foundation loves it. These are great. I mean, once you get a nice big one, so it does your normal laundry, like the LG 4.5 cubic foot one, then you don't ever have the arguments about transferring your laundry, and it just ends that whole issue of I didn't transfer it, now it got moldy. So this solves problems in my life as well as freeing up power. It frees up the 240 volt plug for other things. Show how that works in the real world. This is an electric resistance dryer. You unplug that, you stick in either a heat pump dryer, which is still 240 volts, so you have a problem, but at least less power overall, or a condensing washer dryer that's 120 volt, plug it into any outlet in your house, and now you have this whole plug's worth of power that you can put a level 2 EV charger that gets 30 miles to the hour of charging. That's what your dryer is blocking you from doing with that plug. 7, get something beautiful. Behind me, you can see my mist fireplace. If you're looking at the image of me here, this one over on the left-hand side is $1,430. I got it on sale for 900 bucks. So that's great. Put it next to my Christmas tree. It's an electric fireplace. It uses like a nebulizer, a little ultrasound to make mist, and adds no real moisture. It looks awesome, but I swear, like the windows don't get misted up or anything. I'll run it for hours. So it's very modest amount of moisture it's adding. And you can just take off the logs. There's this little water chamber inside. A little, let's see, plastic here. See, a plastic water chamber, just a little tank like that. And you can have an instant fireplace. It is the least cost fireplace. You're going to spend upward of $6,000 putting in a wood fireplace, at least $3 to $4 grand putting in a gas fireplace. This is $800. You plug it in and your kids are happy. They look awesome. They look like real fire. So number 8 is invest in multi-purpose, inexpensive resiliency. So now that the EVs are coming out with vehicle to building back charging, like the F-150, this year's model, and a bunch of the Volkswagen models, the Nissan Leaf and Chevy Bolt, you can either get the F-150, which comes with it built in, or you can get add-ons like Wallbox's Quasar, Asiaco's DC Bell, so you can use your EV to charge your house. And you can see that right here, this is the only way you can eliminate your bill. If you sell that electricity, some of it into the grid at night, that's the one way that you can go negative on your bills, because you have so much power that you can sell at just the most expensive hours of the day. So that's a really strong strategy for making the grid happy, is selling into it when it needs it, and it makes you happy because you make your money. Last thing, go out there and get rid of your nasty gas appliances, particularly for landscaping. They're 2-stroke, they're super duper dirty, noisy, piss off your neighbors. You never can run a lawnmower that someone wants to hear it, no matter what day, what hour. So if you go to electric, as I have, I've got my batteries right here. This battery runs my weed whacker for like a good 20 minutes or so. I can get everything done around my little tiny house and around the paths and such. And I've got a bigger one, a 3 kilowatt hour, like basically like about 10 minutes per kilowatt hour, these little things. So that is my presentation, your rapid electrify on a budget and get this going in your life kind of conversation. Oh, yay. Thanks, Josie.
That was great. Thank you for that great crash course, Shawn.
You're welcome. Hopefully I did it in the 10 minutes I was allotted.
Your timing was impeccable. Now that we all have a better understanding of home electrification, we will turn to Diane Bailey, the Executive Director of Menlo Spark, a local nonprofit helping communities become climate neutral. And she also leads the campaign for fossil-free buildings, Silicon Valley. Diane is a certified climate professional, and prior to her work with Menlo Spark, she spent almost 14 years at the Natural Resources Defense Council, working at the local, state, federal, and international level, promoting improved air quality and public health through reduced fossil fuel use. Diane will give us an overview of what Bay Area municipalities are considering this year as it pertains to REACH codes. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you, John. Thanks so much for having me here. Oh, I wanted to note there were a few hands up. Should we wait and take questions later?
Yes, I think we should.
Okay, super. Okay, thanks again. My name is Diane Bailey. I'm with a small, whoops, let me try that again. There we go. I'm with a small nonprofit called Menlo Spark, and we started in 2015. Just a quick thing about us before I launch in. And it's really hard to follow Shawn Armstrong, but I'll try. Menlo Spark started in 2015. We had a mission to help the city of Menlo Park become climate neutral and accelerate a transition off of fossil fuels. And we are now working with local government, community leaders, businesses, and all stakeholders to try to help cities throughout Silicon Valley to accelerate a transition off of fossil fuels. Why? Well, you guys know why, because you're here. So just a quick refresher that the IPCC put out this Code Red report last August and followed it up just last month with another report saying, oh my gosh, we are in trouble in climate. We're feeling the impacts, and the impacts are coming more rapidly than we anticipated. We have a narrowly closing window to act. And there are super pollutants like methane that have sort of gone under the radar and are less regulated than we need them to be. And we need to move a lot faster to regulate short-term pollutants that are leaking like crazy, like methane. So I'm going to talk about methane, but first, a quick reminder about how we're feeling the climate impacts today with high heat, with more wildfires, with hazy skies and hazardous air quality conditions. I would say that nobody in California is not feeling the impacts of climate. We're all feeling it. We know that sea level rise is coming. We know that it's not going to be equitable. It's going to hit communities of color and low-income areas worse than other areas. And that not acting to reduce fossil fuels and climate pollutants is actually the more expensive option, and that these climate fueled disasters are costing billions and billions of dollars, collectively $2 trillion. And so it's more expensive to do nothing. And we also know that the public is in support of climate action. And this recent poll from San Mateo County shows that 85% of people want to see more climate action locally, which is great. I'm just skating through these because I want to get to the REACH codes. And Beverly, I see your hand up. I think we're going to hold questions. So just a quick note about why we're so focused on electrification and methane. It accounts for about 27% of greenhouse gas emissions in California. But when we start to take into consideration all of the leaks and the short-term nature of the pollutant, it's almost 50%. In a lot of suburban communities, it's around 40% of the overall climate emissions. And there are a lot of benefits to electrification, that is replacing methane gas with all electric homes and buildings. We know that with the first cost for new construction, that it's cheaper to go all electric. We know that going electric can help us avoid a lot of leaks and fires and other hazardous conditions, and that all electric homes are much more healthy for people. We don't have time to get into this now, but those co-benefits are important. So about 3 years ago, a number of groups formed the Fossil Free Buildings in Silicon Valley campaign, where 37 groups working together to accelerate a phase out of fossil fuels, namely methane, and our focus areas REACH codes. A lot of you here today know a lot more about REACH codes than I do, but just a quick, very simplistic view. What is a REACH code for those who don't know? This is relating to California's building codes. Every 3 years, they're updated by the state. And when they're updated, every city in the state has to do that, has to adopt the updates. Some cities can go further than the state minimum requirements. And when they do that, reaching past the state minimum, that's called the REACH code, and it relates to the energy code and as well as Cal Green. So over the past 3 years, we've seen 55 different policies that are REACH codes or gas bans, which are similar in California, really fueling a movement nationwide. And half of those REACH codes are right here in Silicon Valley. either requiring all electric new construction. This is usually pertaining to new construction, but we're going to start getting into existing buildings. Yeah, over half of those codes are here in Silicon Valley, and really advancing what was considered incentive-based REACH codes into actual requirements to go all electric with new construction. There are some cities that recently started looking at policies to require all electric for existing buildings as homes and buildings as gas appliances are replaced. Menlo Park and Half Moon Bay. We know that the Bay Area Air District is looking at region-wide requirements for new appliances. Not sure we have a ton of time to get into the details, but just to set up the conversation about how to take this next round of REACH codes for 2022 into existing buildings. Some cities have really ambitious policies to electrify all the existing homes and buildings. Menlo Park is one of those, with a new climate plan adopted in 2020 that calls for an almost complete conversion of all homes and buildings off of gas to electric by 2030. How are we going to do that? Well, our organization, Menlo Spark, we put out a report last summer detailing what is the pathway to an affordable and equitable conversion of all gas appliances in existing homes and buildings by 2030. It's a very quick time frame, but we know by the IPCC reports that we need to stop allowing new fossil fuel devices if we want any hope of limiting warming to 1.5 or 2 degrees. But how can this be affordable for folks? And we looked at the population in 3 different segments, recognizing that low-income households are going to need full assistance, that there are new on-bill financing tools to help moderate-income households, and other households can take advantage of the very generous rebates that exist. We found that a REACH Code 2.0 approach that folds existing buildings into new construction in the policy package, it might relate to different legal sections of the code, but in one city electrification ordinance, you can combine existing buildings with new construction to prevent the installation of new gas appliances. And we know that's going to come with some exemptions and flexibility. And also that assistance programs are really needed to make this successful. A lot of people don't know how to replace a gas appliance with electric. They might need a little bit of support determining how to run the wiring or upgrade their panel if needed, but hopefully avoiding it using watt diet tools. We know that we need more rebates and financial assistance, and also streamlining permitting and a whole lot more community engagement and outreach to let people know that this is coming. So what is the status of building electrification? Just want to do a quick time check here, John. I hope I have a couple more minutes. The cities that tried to require home electrification last year ran into some roadblocks. There was a lot of opposition, a lot of confusion, a lot of misinformation spreading on Nextdoor and online. But we did have some progress with some cities like Menlo Park adopting a commitment to do full-scale outreach and community engagement to look for funding to convert low-income homes first with full assistance. We know that I don't have time to go into Half Moon Bay. We know that Half Moon Bay tried as well to adopt an ordinance, and they were not able to, but they did adopt an end of gas service to that city by 2045, together with a REACH code. They are the first city to do that, combining an end of gas service with a REACH code. And we think that this could be the future of all REACH codes in this area. And there is a new consortium of groups supporting a REACH Code 2.0 effort in this area. It's called BayAreaReachCodes.org. That's the website, and it includes East Bay Community Energy, Peninsula Clean Energy, Silicon Valley Clean Energy, and the counties of San Mateo and Santa Clara. And so this is sort of an iteration from the last collaboration a few years ago. They are providing model codes, model REACH codes for new construction for gas bans that use municipal codes instead of the state energy code. And as well, they're providing existing building model codes to require electrification as gas devices need replacement. We don't know of a city that has done this yet, but we think it's possible to combine existing buildings with new construction. This Bay Area ReachCodes.org consortium launched in January. They did a set of public workshops. John, how am I doing on time? Do I have a couple more minutes? Hopefully.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Yep.
good. Thank you. Okay, so they've launched in January. They've done public workshops and outreach. They are about to release a model code for existing buildings next month. We think that it will include options that look very similar to what Half Moon Bay released last summer as part of its electrification package. And we think that they'll provide what I call an ordinance in a box for cities. That is a fully vetted, legally reviewed, and technically complete ordinance for any city to pick and choose, sort of like a menu of options, what they want to include. And the package will also include draft slide decks, draft staff reports to City Council, and as well as pretty rigorous public outreach. And this will really minimize the burden on cities to adopt these REACH codes, because this consortium is taking on all the work and a little bit of the political risk as well, putting their names and the entities behind it. We know that all the cities need to adopt the regular base energy codes by the end of the year. And so that is really the best time frame to adopt these REACH codes together with the existing building provisions by the end of the year, but it's not actually a deadline. A lot of cities in the last code cycle adopted their REACH codes a little bit later, and that worked out just fine. Let's see. So if you're looking for things to do, supporting these REACH codes within your city and helping to get the word out, those are some really key actions, but there are other things you can do. Shawn reviewed all sorts of ways for you to electrify your own home. And when you do that, we hope that you'll post it on Nextdoor and other social media and tell people about it. We hope that you can join the Fossil Free Buildings campaign and help us work with cities throughout Silicon Valley to adopt these REACH codes. We hope that you'll encourage your elected officials to take the Rewiring America pledge to become an electrification city. And as well, you can become an electrification ambassador and help your neighbors take action. And these are all free programs. We can't get REACH codes that are ambitious and include existing buildings adopted if we don't get the word out that this is entirely possible to do and show that all of our neighbors are going electric. This is becoming the mainstream. And as we get more and more homes electrified, that does bring the cost down. So this is not going to be easy. It's going to take a very large coalition, but I hope that you'll join us. And I hope that we can together put the equity needs up front, do some fundraising to get low-income households converted first, make sure those needs are met, and work together for a really comprehensive REACH code this year that includes existing homes and buildings. And with that, I thank you. That's my contact information. And I hope that we have time to take some questions. Thanks.
Thank you for your excellent update on REACH codes, Diane. That will help us all better understand where and how to focus some of our advocacy efforts this year.